Hello students, our journey is almost coming to an end. I wanted to thank you for sticking with me through all the lectures. I hope that as we go along that you have learned a lot about yourself and how to become a healer and how to even, if you want to do this as a business, some of the things that you might need to think about or watch for. If you're guided to be a healer, then you already are one. We talked about this before. You just need to add the professional component. Everyone is a healer in truth, because we're made in the image and likeness of God, who is the healer. Some people express this nature more readily than others. Take a moment to recall your healing experiences. In what ways have you helped restore yourself and others, including pets, to wellness? As you remember these incidents, give yourself credit for stepping up and being the conduit of heavenly healing energy. This is not ego accolades. It is accepting positive responsibility for taking divinely guided actions, and that is healthy. As we discussed earlier, being a healer depends upon your temperament with respect to self-employment. You got to be self-directed in order to be your own boss. If this isn't your strong point, then consider starting off part-time in the healing field. You definitely don't want to begin a practice with a need for money, because any sign of desperation will scare off potential clients. Another option is to work for a healing center so that you have a guaranteed income, or at least have a steady influx of client referrals for your place of business. If you want to be a healer, the best guidance is to do healing work. Perform healings every day. You can start off doing them for yourself, your friends, your family, and your pets to help gain experience and confidence. Ask people you work on to give you testimonials if possible. The turning point between practicing your healing art and making the leap to professional status begins with you. You must make the clear decision, without reserves, that you will not be compensated. Sure, you will give occasional freebies as you're guided, and obviously we're not talking here about not doing any kind of vocational work or charity work or anything that you're volunteering. But do not expect and so manifest payment for your healing work. Spend time journaling and meditating upon this intention. You need to refrain any guilt, probably from former lifetimes, about charging money for spiritual work. Otherwise, you'll push business away and engage in unconscious self-sabotage. Remember, as you allow yourself to be paid, you're able to spend more time conducting your work. Payment allows you to leave a meaningless job so that you can create a meaningful career bringing healing blessings to others. Think of it this way. When you allow yourself to receive, you have more resources available to give to others. To find an outlet for your work, pray daily for opportunities to help others. I really like the prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Then notice people who enter your life. They might have even been heaven sent to assist you with your healing practice. Now, speaking about healing, giving talks about your work is a wonderful way to foster awareness of you, your practice, and your healing modality. Even if you don't think of yourself as or don't want to be a professional speaker, you can bring great healing to many people through speaking engagements. Your options include talking about your healing modality to audiences, demonstrating this modality in one or more audience members, teaching others how to conduct this type of healing, writing about healing, for example. If you're guided to write, you may want to start with penning articles for metaphysical or healing magazines. Ideally, create and submit these articles monthly. This will build your confidence and writing experience, as well as help the public familiarize themselves with you and your practice. Perhaps you're guided to write a book about healing. If so, I'll hardly recommend the experience as if life-changing as well as helpful for your career. For potential book authors, there are some suggestions of books that might be helpful to you. So I'm going to mention them here if you want to write them down. For example, How to Write a Book Proposal by Michael Larson. Larson book gives a step-by-step guidance about how to put together a sellable proposal which will earn you a publishing contract. Other books are important are Writer's Market by Writer's Digest Books, also available in CD format. These often guide list US and foreign publishers according to their genre, the topic of books they publish, along with their content and submission details. Be sure that you have the most current copy of this publication because last year's book has sale information. Also, Dane Pointer's A Publishing Manual by Para Publishing. Make sure you get a recent edition of this publication, which is updated regularly. This book is considered to be the first and last word about the ins, outs, hows, and whys of self-publishing a book. Now we talk about self-care for healers, channelers, or spiritual teachers. And as you can see, self-care is essential now and always. So, some of the guidelines for self-care. I know that if you're a giving person, it is part of your light worker personality and global mission. And yet, as we emphasize repeatedly, it's essential that you balance all that giving with receiving. Otherwise, you're like an automobile that's constantly driven at the top speed without stopping to refuel. Your purpose as a spiritual teacher and healer is a lifelong mission. So I want you to think of it as a marathon. You want to enjoy your work for many years. Here are some guidelines to ensure longevity. One will be honor your temple and your body as a temple that it is. Honor your boundaries with your clients. When you open your healing or psychic reading service, your current friends and family might expect free sessions. This is fine when you're starting out and need the practice to build confidence or gather testimonials. Just clarify that your complimentary sessions are temporary measure until you get off the ground. Your clients and some of the professional associates, it can be unhealthy and unwise to socialize with them. If you do so, then they're no longer your clients. In many cases, they'll expect free services from you because now you're their friend. Also, it kind of devaluates what you tell in the sessions, as some of them might think that just because you know them so well, when you give them a session, then maybe you're not able to come up with information that they want. So be careful with that. There shouldn't be no transference. You should be thinking of yourself as a doctor in some ways. Once you're in business, it's fine to give discounts to family and friends, but they still should pay something. That ensures an energy exchange and helps you with the expenses that accompany a private practice. I also find that when we are emotionally close to people, we lose the necessary objectivity to give them an accurate psychic reading because, we are too invested in wanting a certain outcome for them. And so it's difficult to see or deliver a message about anything that's different from their desires. So it might not be the best idea to have family and friends as clients. Perhaps refer them to another healer who can then refer her family members to you. It is also frowned upon to date clients, as this creates ethical issues. Your clients trust you as an authority figure, so engaging in romantic or sexual relations with them is overstepping your bounds and an abuse of power, which can lead to hurt and disappointment. So you better to avoid this in the first place. We talk about the body as a temple that it is and how to honor it. So, The top speakers who are still going strong are those who exercise daily, eat healthfully, avoid alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, and other chemicals. Those chemicals can quiet some of the energy and some of the chakras and some of the um, I guess energy expenditure that comes from that part of the brain. It also quiets the mind, the ethical mind. So you wanna stamina comes from fueling your body, right? That means all of the common sense principles that your guardian angels are likely talking to you about daily. So getting enough sleep, detoxing, exercising, meditating, and so forth. So many spiritual teachers and healers eat diets high in organic fruits and vegetables, avoid high processed foods, and some of us are vegetarians or vegans or almost vegetarians, because we as we go into the healing path, we become sensitive to the energy contained in the meat of mistreated animals. The angels also have guided many of us to adopt a glucose and laughter free diet because our body's sensitivities to these substances. I have to say I'm still working on that last one, which is very difficult for me. So believe in your angels, trust your body's signals, and follow their lifestyle guidance. All of those will make you a more worthy temple to pass these messages along. Archangel Raphael, in particular, can heal away addictive urges. Suggesting his name and ask for his assistance if you need help. Now, another one that's really important is also watch your ego. Your clients and audience members will lavish you with praise about how wonderful and special you are. So be careful about accepting compliments and take them with a grain of salt. The writer Charles Clark Mumm said it's best when he quipped, "Compliments are like perfume, to be inhaled but no swallow." When people praise you, they're doing so as a form of affection. Most compliments are trumped up versions of the sincere feelings that these admirers generally have, but don't know how to express. So most people overdo it with flattery. If you take their words to heart, you risk going into your ego, which is what happens whenever you allow yourself to feel special. A specialness is a sign of feeling better than someone else, which is the basis of a belief of separation. And the thought of being separated from others and from God is the foundation of all fear and guilt. It is healthier to take compliments in the spirit that we're all equally special and gifted. Since compliments are a gift, and it's important to allow yourself to receive, there are gracious ways to accept them and still stay out of your ego. For instance, smiling and saying thank you is always appropriate. In your head, give the compliment to God, who is the source of everything your client appreciates about you. Please keep in mind that your ego is completely fear-based, 100% not psychic, and without healing abilities. So if you allow yourself to swallow your client's remarks, then you will lose touch with the very skills that they complimented in the first place. When you see healers and psychics advertising themselves as the most gifted, or the world's best psychic, run the other way. Those people have swallowed their compliments and are operating out of their ego's separation beliefs. And you don't want the same thing to be happening to you. Another important thing when we're talking about clients that I want to make sure is, and this is a very rookie mistake, and I have done it, I think a lot of people, even entrepreneurs, have done the mistake, is keep your clients as clients. Only see them or talk to them during allotted appointments. Do not give them your home phone or personal cell number or your private email address. Keep your personal and professional life separate. If a client calls to book an appointment and wants to ask a couple of psychic reading questions at that time, about the temptation to give free samples. Otherwise, you will teach your clients to expect bonus readings whenever they call. So from the start, if you model healthy boundaries for your clients, they'll respect you more. We also want to make business decisions based on guidance. Many healers open their private practices because of a strong divine guidance. Everything flows nicely because their actions have a nice, solid spiritual foundation. But if financial worries set in, the healer's actions may be motivated by fear. She can no longer hear her inner guidance, so she takes fear-based courses of action. This will lead her practice into a hole of other energy and direction. We also need to learn as a healer how to deal with your changing relationships. If you think that becoming a professional spiritual teacher or healer will change your life, then you are right. But it's not always in the ways that you might be expecting. One significant change concerns your relationships. Your new career gives others great insight into your beliefs. If you kept your feelings private in the past, then you might feel a little exposed, especially if your career path is met with teasing or resistance from your friends and family. Or you might find that people express jealousy over your newfound happiness and success. Perhaps they worry that you are going to change so much that you will leave them behind. But the biggest life change will occur in your relationship with your own self. You will begin to honor yourself more than ever. So you will opt out for activities that seem harsh or off-center. This can be threatening to your family and friends who are accustomed to hearing you say yes to everything in the past. It is possible, and it is best to deal with these changes openly and honestly. If your family dynamics discourage candid discussions, then hold conversations with your loved ones' guardian angels to heal any divides or misunderstandings. With each situation that arrives in your spiritual healing practice, you will be guided and supported. So stay in the present moment. Do your best to listen and follow your intuition, and give any worries to tomorrow to God. Now, there are also some ethical considerations. As a spiritual healer and teacher, you're going to gain the confidence of your clients. So, some clients will reveal intimate personal information to you. Of course, you're going to honor your clients' privacy and not gossip about their lives. What they say is confidential, just as it will be with a doctor or an attorney. If you decide to relay client story in a book or article, you either need to get written permission from that person, or you must scramble his or her personal details so that no one will recognize whom you are discussing. For example, make a male client into a female, change the person occupation, age, and city of residence. Write only the core nuggets of the story to the degree that it will help others who read it, but not really knowing who this person is. Keep your promises to everyone, including your clients. Be punctual and thoughtful, kind and considerate to everyone, including yourself. If a client comes to you and mentions suicide, be careful. Err on the side of caution and bring in the right professionals to help. Your job is not to play psychologist or psychiatrist or even counselor if you don't have any of those certifications or licenses. Don't try to play Superman or Superwoman with such a client. Your role is to call for emergency assistance and let the experienced professionals do their job to save this person's life. Please note that your educational licensing restrictions with respect to healing work. If you're not a doctor, a nurse, or a psychologist, please don't step into those areas with your client. Being very conservative when giving readings about medical conditions or marital relationships. Do not overstep your bounds. It is a great idea to develop a business relationship with trusted medical and psychological personnel so that you can refer clients to them when your professional limits are tested. You can find spiritually minded healthcare professionals through your local church, temple, or metaphysical center.